Hi, welcome to Upward Bound Algebra 1. This is day 1 on solving multi-step equations. Remember that in order to solve an equation, it's like a balancing act. What you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So here's your main concept for solving. You have to simplify one or both sides of the equation before you can actually solve it. Then you do the inverse operation. You do the opposite of the order of operations. So if the regular order of operations is PEMDAS in simplifying an equation, you would actually go backwards. You do the opposite of what you see. So you solve a linear equation by, step 1 is always to distribute. This means to multiply through any parentheses that are there. Step 2 is to combine like terms. This is on the same side only. 3 is to add or subtract the smallest variable. 4 is to add or subtract the constant. And 5 is finally multiply or divide to solve. So the distributive property, if you remember, is multiplying through any parentheses. If you had 3 times x plus 7 is equal to 4 times 3 minus x, you would multiply the 3 through and the 4 through, and you would end up with 3x plus 21. 3 times 7 is 21. 4 times 3 is 12. And 4 times a negative x is a negative 4x. The sign in front of it goes with it. And negative and minus are the same thing. When you combine like terms, again, remember the sign in front of the term goes with it. So when you have, for example, 3x plus 4x minus 12x plus 7 equals 3 minus 2x minus 5x plus 8, you would combine the x's on the left, the 3 and the 8 on the right, and the x's on the right. So this equation would become 3 plus 4 minus 12 is a negative 5x plus 7. The 7 just comes down. The 3 plus 8 is 11. And minus 2x minus 5x is minus 7x on the right. Step 3 is to add or subtract the smallest variable. When you look at the equation, there's going to be a variable, an x, on both sides, and you have to figure out which one is the smallest. Do the opposite of what you see. Moving the smallest variable should almost always give you a positive variable in the end. So for example, you have negative 5x plus 7 equals 11 minus 7x. The negative 7x is smaller than the negative 5x. Okay, so you're going to add 7x to both sides. When you do that, negative 5x plus 7x gives you 2x plus 7 equals 11. You didn't touch anything else, so they just stay where they were. Step 4 is to add or subtract the constant. The constant is the single number on the same side as the variable. And again, do the opposite of what you see. So in this equation of 2x plus 7 equals 11, the 7 is the constant. It's on the same side as the variable, but it's a single number. And you do the opposite of what you see. So you subtract 7 from both sides so that 2x is equal to 4. 11 minus 7 is 4. Then you're going to finally multiply or divide to solve. Always divide or multiply away from the variable. And again, do the opposite of what you see. If you have that equation of 2 times x, because remember side by side means multiply, equals 4, you would undo the multiplication with division and divide both sides by 2 so that x is equal to 4 divided by 2, which is 2. So facts to know, every problem is going to be different, but the steps will always be the same. But you won't need every step in every problem. But in the beginning, you're going to check every problem. Do I have parentheses? Do I have this? Do I have this? So look at this problem. It has a distribution in it. So you have the original equation. Step 1 is to distribute the 3x plus 12. Everything else just stayed the same. The next step is to combine those like terms. I have 5x and 3x to combine to make 8x. Then I don't have two variables, so I don't need that step. Then I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides, which is subtracting the constant, and finally divide to solve. This one doesn't have distribute. It just has combine like terms. So I combined 7x and negative 3x to make 4x, right? Combine like terms. Add the constant, so I'm going to add 8 to both sides, and divide to solve. Divide both sides by 4 to get 8. This one is distributing, and it's distributing a negative, so we're going to distribute the negative 3. Negative 3 times x is a negative 3x, but negative 3 times negative 2 is a positive 6. Be very careful when distributing the negatives. Then you're going to combine those like terms. 4x minus 3x is 1x. Subtract the constant of 6 and you're done because there is nothing else to do here. There's no division. Sometimes you will encounter some trick questions. Think logically. Do the opposite of what you see in order to get the equation into a form you can work with. So like this problem here, the first thing we want to do is get rid of the 5. We don't like fractions. So we want to get rid of that 5. So we just multiply it to the other side. 66 times 5 is 330. Now it's in a form that we can use. So we distribute the negative 6. Add the constant of 18, divide by negative 6, and we get x is equal to a negative 58. All right, so the last thing we want to talk about is graphs. When you go to graph a single variable, it is either a dot on a number line or a vertical for x equals equations or horizontal for y equals equations on a traditional graph. So in the example x equals 7, on a number line, you would literally just put a dot at 7. On a graph, you would draw a vertical line because it's x equals 7. So you draw a vertical line at 7. That's what you're going to be doing on your assignment today. Thanks for watching.